What's going on, everybody? Red, white, and Bills. The time is finally here. Week 1 as we're just around the corner. About 2 more days. Thursday night football opening night in SoFi Stadium against the defending Super Bowl champs. And if you're a Bills fan, this is basically what we wanted last year in the Super Bowl. So I know it's not the same thing. It's regular season. I understand that. But it's still going to be nice to play against a team of that caliber week 1 in front of the world to see and just see how it turns out. There's 2 great teams, 2 Super Bowl contending teams going against each other. And, week 1, I'm always like, week 1, it's a lot of, juice to get out and mistakes and, dumb penalties. And I'm not excited for that part, but hopefully it's just a good, clean game and we can really showcase both teams' talents. But this is the first pregame of the season. It's been a while. I'm very excited. I love doing pre-games and post-games. It's always super fun for me. But what we usually do, if you're new, we talk about people to watch. This week I'm going to focus on Bills and Rams players, of course, and then keys to victory, essentially. And then you guys can comment anything you'd like to comment about the game, and I'd love to talk about it. So for me, first on the list of who to watch is Ken Dorsey. And that's because he is a first-time offensive coordinator. However, he's gelled with his team for years. He's gelled with Josh Allen, and he seems to be a clubhouse favorite. So he's got all the right tools with him. So we'll just got to see how he puts it out on the field. And then what I always talk about every week on all my pods, offensive line. We have a new revamped offensive line this year, adding David Quisenberry and Roger Saffold to the starting line. And we have a lot of good depth this year, where last year we were very much lacking in offensive line. And I said since week 1, the offensive line will move us as far as we can go. If the offensive line fails, we will fail. And, that's basically what it ended up doing. But this year I have 100% confidence in this offensive line and the new offensive line coach, Aaron Cromer. We got rid of that fool, Bobby Johnson, and I'm very confident in this offensive line. Now, Gabe Davis, I put Gabe Davis here because if you're not a Bills fan and if you didn't watch the Chiefs game, a lot of people, I've seen some Rams podcasts saying, let's pump the brakes on Gabe Davis. But that's for people that don't watch this kid play football. So it's easy to say, you look at his stats. So 35 catches last year in a regular season. Yeah, he missed 4 games, but he was like the 3rd or 4th wide receiver on the team last year. Now he's in the 2nd spot. So he's going to be getting a huge workload, especially this Thursday when Jalen Ramsey and Diggs are going to be going at it, alpha versus alpha. So expect Gabe Davis to be basically the number 1 while Diggs and Ramsey are out there. Probably going to be fist fighting by the end of it. But Gabe Davis, he's got incredible hands. His toe drag swag. If you haven't seen it in the Colts playoff game a couple years ago, this guy he's just an animal. He wants to win. He's a fierce competitor. He's got speed. He's got moves. He's got a good route tree. And a lot of people sleep on him, and I understand why. Because if you look at the last 2 seasons, 35 catches. But again, if you're a Bills fan or just like keeping up with other people around the NFL, you know that Gabe Davis is a solid player. And I can see him getting 75, 85 receptions this year as a number 2. And then the last but not least for us, the secondary. The secondary only because the absence of Trey White, of course. Dane Jackson's back in that number 1 corner role. And then you got rookie first-round pick Kyer Elam, who I'm very confident in and very high on. And then also Christian Benford, who Leslie Frazier said they're going to be splitting time. I don't know if he meant to word it like that in the game against the Rams, which I'm not a fan of, because I get if Elam's getting burned like pretty bad, you got to take him out. But if he makes a mistake, you got to leave the kid in, obviously, because he's got to learn. So I hope that's not what they were meaning, like they're going to take turns putting him in. But it's going to be a big test for them. And as we get into the Rams players, who else but to start with the Triple Crown winner, Cooper Kupp. 1,900 yards, 16 touchdowns. This guy was just an animal. He was underrated, last year. People kind of slept on him, and then now he deserves all the praise. He's proven that he could be a dog and an elite guy. He's already been 3 years in a row with 1,000-yard receiving, and as well as it's pretty difficult to repeat 1,900 yards. He's still a very, very, very talented receiver, top 5 in the league. You're going to have to really, really key in on him. And the good thing about we may have a rookie cornerback starting, but we got Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde over the top, and they're on their own. I've said this millions of times. They're on their own level. They communicate without even talking. So they're very well in good hands. The cornerback room with Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde in the secondary, and Poyer has been practicing all week, as well as Isaiah McKenzie and Tim Settle. So they're all three of them will be playing. So that's astonishing. And Allen Robinson is also added to the team, to the Rams. So that's another guy, number one receiver type player, basically 2 number 1 receivers on the Rams right now. So he's going to be very hard. And then last but not least, the man, Aaron Donald, the best player in the NFL. He's just his mix of strength and size and speed is just out of this world. I've never seen anything like it, and probably none of us have. But I always say you can't completely stop a guy like Aaron Donald, but you can definitely maintain him and make sure he doesn't make more plays than we make. So I can see him getting maybe a sack and a few tackles, but if everything goes well and we keep him out of the way of the ball and protect the football, then we should be pretty well off. And I'm not going to mention, I'm going to be petty. I'm not going to mention Jalen Ramsey because he said I'm not going to blow smoke up their ass as far as Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. So on this pod with a massive 200 subscribers, which he's definitely going to see this, not going to mention him. But even if I didn't mention him, it goes without saying. Now I go to the keys to victory. The first key, pressure, pressure, pressure. This new vamped defensive line as well is just the most exciting thing for me about this season is they were very well slept on last year. We had a very high pressure rate, but we had a hard time making it home most of the time. But I think with Jordan Phillips back, Daquan Jones, Tim Settle, you got Shaq Lawson back, Greg Rousseau, and last but not least, Von Miller adding to this defensive line. This is gonna be crazy. I can't wait to see them all function as a unit together. And I'm sure they're still gonna do the rotation, but Von wants to be out there as much as possible. And hey, if that's what he wants to do, if he's able and not exhausted, let him do it. He's this good for a reason. Future Hall of Famer. Second, limit AD. I've already mentioned this, and obviously that goes without saying as well. But because you can't completely stop a guy like him, so if you can limit him, it's going to be a huge tall order for this offensive line. But the interesting thing is Roger Saffold actually played with Aaron Donald when he was on the Rams for a little bit, so maybe he knows a thing or two about Donald that other guards don't know. So maybe he'll be able to put some of that knowledge to the other members of the offensive line. And last but not least, because we do this often sometimes, do not beat yourself. That's what dumb bonehead penalties, not being in the right position, arm tackling, not lowering your shoulder when you're running the ball, and all this a combination of all those things. And again, it's week 1, so expect to see penalties, expect to see dumb mistakes, but especially this game, we're not playing the Jets. We're not playing a bad Giants team week 1 where we can get away with it. Even last year, we had a terrible week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were a bad team. And, unfortunately we lost because we weren't prepared. And if you played them week 10, we would have beat them by 30. So this is a game against the defending champs in their house, Super Bowl ceremony, dropping the flag and everything. So it's going to be very interesting. And that's all my keys, who to watch on both sides of the ball, both teams. And I just can't wait till Thursday anymore. I've been dying to put this video out. I'm so happy the season's starting. There's a lot of high hopes for this Buffalo Bills team. They got the team to do it. They got the coaching staff to do it. Now that all they have to do is go out and do it. And it starts Thursday against the Los Angeles Rams in SoFi Stadium. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate all the love, guys. Until next time, go Bills.